Okay, we're vlogging. Guys, welcome to our IB World SL class. We've done nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, the bigger eugenics movement was in the U.S. Yeah,
Just gonna fucking.
yeah, I mean, you sort of notice that there are people in both the U.S. and
I know.
sympathetic to his ideology.
Tomorrow. Oh, okay.
But he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot.
No, do Friday. It's Friday. It's just it feels like it's Friday.
Fun
I mean, it feels like it's
groups
Thursday.
that are supporting it. He does have the.
Do you have any of yours?
Provide some money to the American Good, which is like the American Nazi Party.
Maybe we should grind this out one
But you know, as far
We
as
can do
like
it more than I did on FaceTime.
sending in spies to
Guys, I'm here. I went through it.
foment dissent and that sort of thing. Yeah, yeah. I can't think of any instances of that where like funding the anti-war movement in Britain.
He also like fully tried to add me. Here, wait. Shit, guys, I'm cooking an IB theory knowledge.
Yeah, there definitely was, but I think that's more in academia and, you know, like medicine and stuff like that.
Okay, I like that.
Because the U.S. never has any federal eugenics policies, but, you know, state by state, you know, the different states have different policies on it. So, I know that there were at least one American eugenicist who was
It's so cool.
like a doctor.
Oh wait, I need to show you. Sorry.
He was honored by Nazi Germany
Search up
with
lightning
some
for.
medical distinction. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, and you know Madison Grant was
There it is.
read by every
Wait, no, go
Nazi
back.
eugenicist. But yeah,
go back.
as
Just
far
do
as
lightning and shoot them.
like trying to influence federal policy.
This is certain.
Yeah, no, and then I don't think the federal government would have
Maybe she
been
did.
thinking
Maybe
along
she
those
posted it on
lines.
Twitter.
Very much.
She posted one of
If
her
states want to do something with it, they can.
the
But
Kauai woman.
yeah, there was no blanket
But that made me think of
anti-war
it.
program.
Maybe it's in her highlights.
Federal, as far as I know. But usually you're doing your IA on it, so you might see.
Maybe it's
might be
on
aware of things that
the
aren't.
cow. Like that'd be kind of crazy, but
What else do we know about World War II?
no, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, a lot.
I don't know this, but it's she took a photo of him in the car.
A couple million? A lot more than that.
Here, wait, put that in frame. Put that in frame.
Yeah, estimates are between 50 and 70 million.
I almost followed him on your phone.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So, World War II, at least Europe, last 6 years. It lasts
Maybe.
9 years for the Japanese
I
and
would not.
Chinese. You know, the Japanese fought, you know, by the time this started, they've been fighting in China since 1931, off and on, and fighting constantly in China since 1937. So, yeah, World War I in Europe, or World War II in Europe, the last 6 years, September 1939 to September 1945. Well, in Europe, I just named. Now, two opposing alliances comprised of most of the world's nations. Okay,
He's so nonchalant.
by the end, 100 million personnel mobilized around the world. So you know, you take all the combatants together, about 100 million personnel. The United States alone has 16 million men under
I
arms.
guess like massive civilian casualties could be an economic.
There's a few women, not many, but yeah, there's a few. Soviets actually talk about that. They use women in combat. The U.S. does.
We could say
But yeah,
ideological, political fit under only use of a
the
condom.
U.S. about 16 million. Now,
Oh, that's true.
I served at the height of the Cold War. Well, every year of the Cold War is the height of the Cold War. But I started toward the end of the Cold War when the military was had been fighting the Cold War, standing off the Cold War for 40 years.
Should I just pull up the fucking thing?
There were about 1 million service members in each branch. So there were about 4 million.
We're still recording.
Nowadays, there's about 1 million
Here, wait, I'll do
people in the U.S. military. So we went from 16 million in the early 1940s down to about 1 million.
So we can still vlog,
nowadays.
guys.
Yeah. As I
Vlog
mentioned, the
channel.
major participants place their entire economic, industrial, and scientific capabilities
My cast
at
hours,
the
guys.
service of the war effort.
Okay, what is this? Well, I know, but I told him he can count it for cast hours.
You mentioned during World War I.
Haven't we literally filled this out?
During the unit on World War I, that you guys were born into a country that's at war. It was at war then. It's been at war your entire lives. Low grade, smaller wars, but still, we've had people fighting basically since you've been born, since before you were born. You don't really notice it. It may show up in the news every now and again, but you could easily live a life, a nice full life, and not everything to think about U.S. forces deployed in Africa or Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever. You wouldn't have been able to miss it in the early 1940s. Everything was dedicated to the war, whether it's rationing at supermarkets, not being able to buy goods, your teachers telling you to collect bacon grease so you can take it to the butcher and turn it in so they can use it to make ammunition. Basically, you wouldn't have been able to avoid it. This is as a total war will get. I mentioned a second ago, massive civilian casualties. In total, somewhere between 50 million and 70 million people are
we're
killed
lagging.
In this
Robot.
war.
Okay, Jake.
Plenty of these are military deaths,
Okay,
but
thank you.
tens of millions of them are civilians. During World War I, the combat was, I don't know, maybe 5-10 miles.
I think it was
on
this.
either side
I think
of
it was the international
the front
space.
line.
Oh, we're
And
crashing
that's
again.
where all the damage was. That's where all the
Yes.
the death
Almost
was.
this.
What we were talking about earlier with the use of aircraft and more mobile warfare, you can attack cities without having to fight your way through an army to get to them. And that's what the Americans and the British will do. They'll sit in Britain building up land forces for an eventual invasion, but at the same time they're trying to weaken Germany with constant bombing raids. Eventually these bombing raids will carry, or they'll consist of more than 1,000 bombers each. Just blotting out the sun with the number of airplanes and bombs that they're dropping. Now, of course, World War II is the only time atomic weapons have ever been used in combat. Nuclear weapons have never been used in combat. They're fish weapons. These atomic weapons, the first and only use of them in war. Now, we're going to go over this in a lot more detail, but I want to kind of put things in chronological order so that as we're looking at it in more detail, we've at least got a larger picture on where this is going.
This is a timeline.
So in 1937-38,
is this not
Japan
before?
attacked China. They also fight a series of border wars with the Soviet Union. In 1939, Germany attacked Poland. This causes the UK and France to declare a war on Germany. Now, it's kind of an interesting thing. Hitler never declared war on England, or he didn't start it. Hitler invades Poland, and to his surprise, the UK and France declare war on Germany. They had signed an alliance with Poland earlier in 1939. The idea behind signing the alliance was this will deter Hitler. He'd never attack Poland if he knows that Britain and France are going to jump in on Poland's side. Hitler thinks that these guys are all about appeasement. They'll let me get away with it because they let me get away with Sudetenland and then taking Czechoslovakia and all that. He figures that this is just a bunch of bluster. He's pretty surprised when the UK and France declare war. Neither of them are ready for war with the other, so they basically spend the winter of 1939 and 1940 each sitting on either side of their border, kind of looking at the other guy and occasionally going on alert to make him go on alert.
I'm confused.
But yeah, it goes on for
I'm trying to
6
figure out
months or so, where they're officially at war, but there's
so I
not
can
really
send it to my brother to see if he can help me through. Because I need to make sure.
Starting in the late spring of 1940, Germany attacks continental Europe. They go after Denmark and then Norway. Then they invade the Low Countries and France. By the start, or by midsummer or so of 1940, Germany has basically conquered Western Europe. In 1941, Germany will attack the Soviet Union. Later that same year, Japan attacks the United States as well as European possessions in the Pacific, the Dutch East Indies, for example. In 1942, this is late 1942, this is November of 1942, the Allies invade North Africa. At the same time, in 1942, early 1943, Germany is defeated by the Soviets at the Battle of Stalingrad. Yeah. 1943, the Allies have successfully captured North Africa, so they invade Italy. The Soviets, the tide kind of turns after Stalingrad, so they counterattack. In the Pacific, the United States is starting its island hopping campaign against the Japanese and starting to recapture territory that Japan had expanded. There, a number of these are victories. So really, 1943 is the year that the tide turns and the Axis starts losing the initiative. In 1944, this is when the Allies invade France. Okay. The Soviets, at the same time, are invading Eastern Europe and they're finally into Germany itself.
Hey, fuck you.
This is when the U.S. recaptures the Philippines and starts capturing islands closer and closer to Japan. Finally, in 1945, the Allies capture Berlin. That's Victory in Europe Day.
Yeah.
The U.S. deploys
And so that's what I was asking you about.
Japan and Japan surrenders. That's victory over
Yeah, I mean, yesterday.
All right, so questions or thoughts?
Not many.
Yeah. I have to make those little packets. I sent them off to the printer and then got thinking of something. So I didn't make any. Actually, perfect. So I'll go make those, but I have a little podcast for you to listen to. Sorry, it didn't have any images, but give the listen podcast. We'll start with a group listen to a BBC podcast that addresses 4 underlying or long-term causes of the war. And then by the time you've listened to that, I'll be back with some packets for you.
Yes, this is a vlog.
To take some notes about the start of the
Does anyone want me to take their trash? I'm going to go through my things. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. So, you can see the little sheet up here. Listen to the discussion about the causes of the Second World War and answer the following questions. What was
It's
the
just
first
like looking
possible
at my
cause
papers.
of World War II mentioned? What was the second possible
Third
cause?
case.
What was the third possible cause? What was the fourth possible cause? And then, we can talk about these questions a little bit afterwards.
I'm here with 4 trainee teachers to discuss the question, who was to blame for the Second World War? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to teach this next year. What do you think?
Obviously, Hitler. I mean, he said in Mein Kampf in 1924 he'd go to war. In 1935, he told his generals to get ready to do it in 4 years' time, and then he went ahead and did it. 1935, rearmament rally. 1936, remilitarization of the Rhineland. March 1938, Anschluss with Austria. In September 1938, he bullied Chamberlain into giving him the Sudetenland. And in March 1939, he took the rest of Czechoslovakia and dared the world to stop him. Then in September 1939, he did the same again in Poland. Surprise, surprise, there's a war.
I know that Hitler said he was destroying Versailles to get the support of his
Guys,
own
what are we
people.
scored on the exam?
But the Treaty of Versailles was dead long before Hitler.
7.
The Allies had killed it already. He had renegotiated reparations in 1924 and allowed Hindenburg to deny war guilt in 1927.
What are you scoring?
In 1935, the British even made a naval arms agreement with Germany. They cooperated in overturning Versailles.
What are you scoring?
And then they gave him the Sudetenland of Munich. So we can't be surprised if Hitler thought it would be okay to attack Poland.
Wasn't Chamberlain at Munich simply trying to buy time for Britain to rearm?
Rubbish. If Britain was militarily weak in the 1930s, Germany was weak.
His hat is on the way,
Remember
guys.
that the German
You know what's
army
not on
had
the way?
ordered
His
to
hoodie.
retreat if it met any resistance from the Rhineland in
Touchy subject.
1936.
Muriel's not
We
like the
encouraged Hitler to do what he did. Loads of people in Britain actually supported what he was doing. And nobody thought Chamberlain would ever keep his promise to defend Poland, not even Stalin, who gave
wanna
up on
Google these
Britain and made the
questions?
Nazi-Soviet pact with Hitler in August 1939. Appeasement encouraged Hitler to go too far, and for me, well, you've got to blame the appeasers.
I don't think I blame a person at all. I blame
No,
the Great
that's not one of the
Depression
options.
in
Oh, okay, it is.
1930s. And while the economy
I only
was
saw,
booming
like,
in
appeasement in the
1920s,
Great Depression.
everybody was happy to sign up to peace. But when the economy fell apart in the 30s and people were starving, suddenly it was, I need that and I'm taking it, war or no war. That's why Japan launched its venture. The Pacific Empire was called the Japanese Co-Prosperity Sphere.
The Great
Can't get
Depression.
any clearer than that. That's why Italy invaded Abyssinia, and that's what Lebensraum was all about, expanding into Russia to secure food and raw materials.
Surely that's nonsense. The invasion of Poland was not about Germany attacking Russia. It was about Germany and Russia allying and splitting Poland between them. That's politics, not economics. For me, if you're looking for a scapegoat for starting World War II, what about Stalin? Hitler would never have dared to attack Poland without Russia's consent.
Can you sort this out in terms of long-term, short-term and trigger causes? Long-term, you've got Germany's anger at the Treaty of Versailles. Shorter term, you have the economic depression and all the tensions caused by Japan, Italy and Germany and appeasement. And then the Nazi-Soviet Pact of August 1939 sort of releases a trigger and everything explodes into war.
Yeah, but that doesn't assess the causes. It doesn't say which was the most important. And for me, it's got to be Hitler. He said the agenda. It was Churchill's words. Insatiable is the lust for power. Look at the history of Europe. It often happens. One nation becomes too powerful, and the others get together and knock it back into line. This happened again in 1939.
I can't agree. Well, if a child is allowed to misbehave, you can't blame him for being naughty. If you're looking for a cause of World War II, try appeasement. At best, Chamberlain allowed Hitler to go too far. At worst, he actively lured Hitler into war, hoping he would attack Russia so fascism and communism would fight each other to the death.
Oh no, all that happened without there being a war. Economic depression, Manchuria, Abyssinia, no war. Nazi expansionism, Austria, Czechoslovakia, no war. Appeasement, Sudetenland, no war. And yet, Hitler makes the Nazi-Soviet pact with Stalin on the 23rd of August, and 1 week later, 1st of September 1939, bang, Germany invades Poland. War. Look at the dates! It's Stalin. I blame for World War II.
I wonder which of you is right.
I'm just learning I don't like the British.
Okay, So, which of them is right?
All of them.
Okay, yeah, we could say a combination of factors, sure, but
Whatever you say, Caleb.
I think it's humans because people like Hitler are always going to exist, and it's the responsibility of everyone else to prevent them from harming others.
okay, yeah, good. I don't remember who was this class that I mentioned earlier, one of the other ones, but
She's a little sniffly.
you know, you say appeasement doesn't work.
Do you need
you know,
some-
the appeasement didn't keep
You can just, like,
Hitler
scoop it
from,
off. It's really sticky.
from attacking. The Allies should have stood firm and fought back. Well, Chiang Kai-shek did. You know, Chiang Kai-shek didn't, you know, at least starting in 1937, he didn't appease Japan anymore. It
Actually, I was
just
telling
led to
Mario
war.
how much I thought you and I were dating for a
yeah,
moment.
you know,
I don't know how that
there's
happened.
appeasement led to war. Standing up to the bully led to war. So you know, maybe war was just going to happen.
I think you can say that.
Yeah.
He's just riding on his pot of gold and
Yeah,
rainbow.
and lets them kind of you know take a little bit more of northern China for years. But then you know with the invasion of Beijing, like I said,
Me too.
last week
Let's see if
the
my
Japanese
ex-boyfriend sent
seemed
me
like
back.
they were
Oh.
you know, okay, we've got Beijing now, we're done. You know, we don't need to fight anymore. And it's China that said, okay, yeah, we're not going to take any more of this crap. We're going to fight back this time. So, yeah. Sebastian.
I feel like if we really want to go back to like the first thing,
Yeah,
I
sure,
feel
I
like
don't
if something
care.
like the Great Depression never happened, then like leaders like Mussolini and Hitler would have never come to power.
Okay, good morning, Short.
Yeah, You really you can't take the long-term impact of the Great Depression out of
The
this.
funniest thing, he's not gonna
Yeah,
know
you're
what
right.
either of you are.
Both Hitler and Mussolini. I mean, they
That's us.
certainly had other messages besides the economic one. But what we saw with the Nazi elections, or with the German elections in the early 1930s, was in times of crisis, people break for the extremes. They either voted for the communists or the Nazis. And,
Yeah, it kind of established that kind of depressing time where German people really needed a leader like that.
Right. Yeah, where you're not going to in times
This
of
is gonna,
crisis,
like, eat
people
away
don't
at my
say,
storage.
well, we
That's
should
the
work
fun part.
together with the other side and come to a compromise. And
Unk is dripping.
you tend to start saying, my way is the only way to fix this. And if these people
I'm
disagree,
Unk.
then let's do what we need to do. But they don't get it. Yeah, they don't get it.
Oh, Albert calls me Dome.
Yeah. What did you think of the idea of, we talked about the depression, but what about the idea that Stalin caused World War II?
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I think it's like a good point to consider. I don't think it's like central. Like, I don't see how someone could say that's the only thing that caused it, because I think he was just like one player to the situation. But like, if you are taking that argument, I think Hitler had their impact for actually choosing to invade Poland rather than Stalin's like
She's
approval.
cooking. She's cooking.
I would tend to agree.
Yes, Ada. Yes, Ada.
Stalin's the cause of World War II. That happens in 1939. Why is he so unready for war in the summer of
Like, actually go
1941?
back it, not us.
So like you said, I think it's an interesting angle to take, but I'm not sure if I would pin World War II on Stalin. Certainly not if I was going to put him up
So-
against Hitler. Hitler has a more direct role. But by the same token, like I said, Hitler did not declare war on Britain and France. They declared war on Germany.
Let's just try it.
So
So then it'd be what?
did Hitler really cause the war?
Wait.
It was Britain and France's choice to honor their treaty and do it.
1, 2, BT. Let's try it. 1, 2, no, too long. What do you mean too long? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that not 4? And it's also not YN.
under rule and
2 is correct.
Yeah, so it's like
the treaty
two.
the U.S. was definitely
But it's not
a
butte.
good defensive move.
Butte is
to say,
too.
like,
No, it's yellow.
oh, you know, it's
Oh.
good to have
So
powerful
Butte. Wait,
friends
what are you saying? So the
and
There are
2.
2 beauties.
it's just not saying that more relief, we don't have to, but
Too short.
you know, if we don't help them now,
You
if
can
we
go
go
dash.
war, what if they end up siding with Germany?
The dash is
The
right.
US sucks with Germany, and the US could be really
Right. Yeah. Good point. It's funny. Well, funny, but the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Why purple?
Beautiful.
We can try it though, because Butte, I don't know if this is right. What did you say? Like why? It's sorry, it's because I'm no. Too
It
short.
could be. Hitler probably wasn't going to be satisfied with just Poland. He's going to want Hungary next.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. I'm not sure that. Yeah, letting him get away with invading
That doesn't fucking
Poland
help.
would have satiated him. Good point. That it might have been a few more months, but it would have been a general war anyway.
Wesley J. Dame Dog. I'll
Now,
tell you.
something about that invasion of Poland. They mentioned here that the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is signed in August 23rd, 1939, and then a week later, Hitler invaded Poland. Now, nobody knew about the secret agreement between Hitler and Stalin to divide Poland. So when the Soviets invaded Poland from the east a couple of weeks after Hitler invades it from the west, Stalin portrayed it as he's advancing into Poland to rescue what's left of Poland from Germany.
Oh, it reset it.
And that's the way Churchill took it. That's the way the British government took
That's
it.
fucked.
That this wasn't Germany and the Soviet Union allying against Poland, which it really was. What it was the Soviets trying to keep the Germans away from their border and trying to rescue that part of Poland that hadn't been occupied by the Germans yet. Like I said, it was actually part of the secret agreement that the Soviets get the eastern half of Poland, the Germans get the western half. But that didn't become known until long after the war.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right, that created Poland in the first place and left that the Danzig corridor
like him.
and all that. So good point. It does go back to the Treaty of Versailles. So much of this does. What a bad treaty. Right. Any other thoughts or questions on this?
The Treaty of Versailles.
No.
Any other causes that we can think of?
What did you just say?
maybe the
Okay, the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, whether it was in terms of
One is not correct, though.
territory or the reparations payments. So
What?
the
I
treaty
don't
itself,
think
but
that's
really the resentment
two.
that
Let's
the
do-
treaty gives rise to.
Ian is right.
Right.
So it's 2
any other thoughts? Let me go grab those little
Was it like the
packets.
Turk?
Let me turn on the lights, watch your eyes.
Oh, it could be Turk.
Like 2 Turk beauty?
2 Turk. Beauty.
No, Turk's
Turk's not correct. Oh, but there is 2 dashes. So there's something else. What? But it was earlier. It was like, this is what we first tried. What did we try? For 1-2 butene? Yeah, that's where 2 was. Yeah. So then it's something, like X dash 2 dash something.
Something
But then the Ian,
is not correct. The E is correct.
I'm here with
funny.
Okay.
Me too.
All right. So we've got these little packets here. I've got one for everybody, but I'd like to keep these as a class set. I will put this on the website if you want to be able to access them later. But yeah, we're kind of short on paper right now, so I'd like to collect them up at the end of the hour so I can use them later on this afternoon.
Stereo, it could be the R or S or both. Should we try S?
Yeah.
So then S dash, but it's not butte. What the fuck is this? Could be. It's not methyl. It's not meth. It's not butte. It's not. Is it F?
Well, I think butte is in there. It's
Is it? Okay. Should we try this?
it doesn't matter.
Okay. So it isn't like S. That doesn't help. Should I just Google what this is named? Let's just figure it out. I can't. Name. Butylene.
Okay.
1-butene.
2-methylpropane. Yeah, wait, what? So then...
Cyclobutane.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some time to work on this, but showing, yeah.
Fucking butylene.
Let's do this. Your generation, what I'd like to do is I'll show you the first couple of minutes of the film Patton, which came out in 1970. The first scene is a very iconic scene. I've seen it.
I quit.
General Patton is standing in front of a gigantic American flag.
What's the minimum words for the IA?
He's giving a speech to the troops.
What's the minimum words for the IA?
Over to Europe.
Like 1,200? Like 1,200?
Have to think about is how would your generation react to what he's saying, and about what it is to be an American, and
that we haven't
what
started.
victory means to an American, and what battle and war mean to an American, and stuff. As we're getting started with this, just to kind of think about the World War II mindset.
What are you going to be learning about War Battle after 11? I love that movie. It's actually getting weird. This is part where Leonardo DiCaprio is in the car shot. Sean Penn comes in and he's like, black. It's like actually part of the movie. When I was watching it with my dad, I was like, Sean Penn wasn't even supposed to be in that scene. It was just Leonardo DiCaprio. She just came in. That wasn't even scripted.
Okay, so you guys are in the audience. Is this a guy you want to fight?
How do I show this to the fucking camera? I need... No, because I need to... He'll see my computer. Should I do this? Can you... No.
I want you to remember that no bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. You won it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country.
You guys are also
And
going to
then-
your test today.
All this stuff you've heard about America not wanting to fight, wanting to stay out of the war, is a lot of horse dung. Americans traditionally love to fight. All real Americans love the sting of battle. When you were kids, you all admired the champion marble shooter, the fastest runner, the big ball players, the toughest boxers. Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laughed. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war. Because the very thought of losing is hateful to America. Now,
There's no war.
an army is a team. It lives, eats, sleeps, fights as a team. This individuality stuff is a bunch of crap. The bilious bastards who wrote that stuff about individuality for the Saturday Evening Post don't know anything more about real battle than they do about fornicating.
What goes in front, guys? What has
Now
to
we have the finest food, equipment, the best spirit, and the best men in the world. You know, by God, I actually pity those poor bastards we're going up against. By God, I do. We're not just going to shoot the bastards. We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder those lousy Hun bastards by the bushel. Now, some of you boys, I know, are wondering whether or not you'll chicken out under fire. Don't worry about it. I can assure you that you will all do your duty. The Nazis are the enemy. Wade into them. Spill their blood. Shoot them in the belly. When you put your hand into a bunch of goo that a moment before was your best friend's face, you know what to do. I don't want to get any messages saying that we are holding our position. We're not holding anything. Let the Hun do that. We are advancing constantly, and we're not interested in holding on to anything except the enemy. We're going to hold on to him by the nose, and we're going to kick him in the ass. We're going to kick the hell out of him all the time, and we're going to go through him like Matt through Duke.
Like a rat. You go
There's one thing that you men will be able to say when you get back home. And you may thank God for it. 30 years from now, you're sitting around your fireside with your grandson on your knee, and he asks you, what did you do in the Great World War II? You won't have to say, well, I shoveled shit in Louisiana. All right, now you sons of bitches, you know how I feel.
Okay, sure, I'm trying to do Albertese.
I will be proud to lead you wonderful guys into battle anytime,
What happened to this path?
anywhere.
This is what I wanted.
That's all.
I know.
All right, so.
Inspirational.
Reaction. Thoughts.
Goo. There's a lot of goo talk.
Reaction. Thoughts.
What a guy.
You find under a guy like that? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
What did you want to do? Uppercase E?
Are you holding up your hand or just doing rabbit ears? I'm doing rabbit ears. How does your generation react to this? How would your, if you were in the audience
laugh.
here about to go to war and this guy comes up and gives this speech, what would you be thinking? Yeah.
It's like a reality check. Like he didn't really like put anything. He didn't really sugarcoat anything like that part where he's like, oh, if you see your best friend's face, it's like you like that actually happens in war. It's not like you're protected, like especially if you're just like an infantry soldier. So,
Right.
You should call it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, he kind of uses these techniques where it's like, oh, but if you don't do this, you're just like a chicken and you're weak, and like everyone else is doing this, so you got to do it too.
Yeah, good point. Would this kind of speech work on you guys?
No.
I mean, if you're enlisted in the army in the first place. Like,
Well, yeah, okay, most of these guys would be enlistees, but there are plenty of them are drafted as well. So, yeah. Okay, how about this? How about this? What about his description of Americans? Okay. All Americans love a winner, will not tolerate a loser.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we still feel that way? Certainly
Yeah.
in the early 1940s they did, but do we still feel that way?
Yes.
Still,
Look at me engaging with that.
still the winner takes all.
What a great song.
About 40
think
days.
so.
Yeah, I think in the original they used the other word.
John Miley would get it.
Starting line in a speech nowadays, but I think like Decade has
John Miley, this goes out to you.
saying, you know, you can sit behind a desk and write about what you think happens in war however you want, but you know, he's saying that he knows what it's like. He knows that, you know, it does take an extra level of mental depth for you know,
Good point. Yeah, here in 1940, everybody would have known it was World getting his name papers in World War I. So, he also, this was a time when there were media stars, but generals were up there with like rock stars and stuff. There was no rock and roll at this time, but they're up there with media stars and stuff. And you have these really larger than life personalities like Pat.
So what kind of media star?
His nickname is Old Blood and Guts. They showed the pearl-handled revolver. That was real. He had a pair of pearl-handled revolvers that he wore. I mean, generals are never in a place where they're fighting with a handgun.
Harry Styles.
Things are going really bad. The general likes to pull out a handgun. He's that's part of his image.
And the conversion rate is bad, so meaning it's cheaper for them, but for us it's like $25, which is like nothing.
Probably would have been a certain amount of confidence that came from, I'm going to be in Patton's army. And, you may not live through it, but he's going to do his best to win the war and win it quickly. So But he doesn't make any promises like I'm going to do my best to get as many of you home alive as possible. There's no line like that in there. Which I think if that same speech was being delivered today, you might hear a promise like that. We've got the best equipment. We're going to use it to stay as far away from the enemy as possible and kill as many of them as possible. And I'm going to bring as many guys home, as I possibly can. Patton doesn't make
That's what I
it
was going to do, but my computer is going to yell at me.
Rhetoric about us deciding, was that why the economy was such a big blow?
Johnson thought, he was thinking in these terms. Johnson's her, during World War II. Or maybe not. I've been too old. But Johnson definitely comes from this early 20th century mindset. He, from his perspective, we're trying to help South Vietnam or the South Vietnamese government resist communism. We've been doing that since the Truman administration in Korea and all that. Resist the expansion of communism. We need a lot of troops, and so we turn to the ground. From Johnson's perspective, it's like this is what your country needs of you, and there's just the expectation that you're going to, I got my draft card. Oh well, I don't want to do this, but this is what my country told me to do. In 1940, people would say, that's how it went on
Just
down.
dot, dot,
You know,
dot.
there was, okay, I don't really want to go to war, but
I hate it here.
in Vietnam, it becomes much more optional. Or people view it as much more
Fucking like
optional.
30
And yeah, there's something that the kids that are resisting the draft in Vietnam are the children of these guys.
Well,
which is really, it's, yeah. how does that work? How does this generation produce the hippies? Any other thoughts or questions or observations about Patton here? Do we have heroes anymore? Yeah.
Was it effective?
Well, Patton was he was pretty effective as a general. He was a great battlefield commander. Although
would it be 4 or
he
1?
did constantly
1, 2,
advance.
3.
There was a couple of times, like in late 1944, when they're nearing the French border.
Wait,
the army gets told to halt for the winter, and then they will bust into Germany in the spring.
When do you mean diet?
Patton couldn't sit around for 4 or 5 months, with his army and have Germans in cities around him. So he launched a couple of attacks that probably didn't need to happen. So he could be pretty reckless. At the same time, he moved an entire division.
No, but that's correct.
More than 100 miles in the middle of the winter in 2 days, which nobody else could ever do. With Patton, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad. He also got himself in a lot of trouble at one point, but I don't know, figured out a good way to work with it. He was in Sicily and was checking
Guys, I would've
on
not
one
gotten
of
that.
the field hospitals under his command, so one of his divisional field hospitals. And he found out that 2 of the soldiers in there were injured, self-inflicted injuries. They literally shot themselves in the foot to try and get injured and get sent home. He cursed at these guys, slapped them across the face, and ordered the doctors to throw them out of the hospital because they're not men, they're not worthy.
Fucking gone
That got back to the States, and there was a huge outcry that what mother wants to hear about her son being treated like that. So Patton was relieved of duty. But at the same time, the Germans knew that Patton was pretty much the best general that the Americans had. They figured that if there was going to be a cross-channel invasion, and they knew one was coming, that it would be Patton that would lead it. They also thought that the invasion would come across the narrowest part of the channel, like Dover and Calais. And so the Allies started massing their equipment further down the English coast, in a wider part of the channel, opposite Normandy. They set up a ghost army in southeastern England to give the Germans the impression that that's where the buildup was, and they put Patton in charge of the ghost army. So to the Germans, that looked like, oh my God, okay, they moved Patton to southeast England, and they're doing this huge military buildup. Patton's got to be the one that's leading the invasion. So they were distracted by keeping an eye on southeast.
I hate that I have to put it in the middle.
The buildup was going on in the southwest. That ghost army is really pretty cool. You can see pictures of there are people like 4 guys picking up a tank because the tank's just a giant inflatable balloon. They'll pick up a tank, move it over. They also built a bunch of aircraft that were just wings. And a kind of a representation of the fuselage, but they didn't have any engines or anything.
3.
But German spy planes flew
because you go
overhead,
1,
and
2.
took pictures that just see row after row of aircraft. And, so it was really the deception
Wait,
of World War II was really good. The British hired a magician to help them hide the port of Alexandria.
I don't think you really, because anyways they always separated.
Bombers from Greece to attack the British shipping that was in the port of Alexandria. So what they did, this magician was like, okay, there's no way we can protect this port. What we can do is replicate the lights. So they basically they took all the lighting system from the port and built the exact same way, just like 2 or 3 miles down the coast. So you know, the Germans, you go flying over there, I saw the lights was supposed to be there, but I see the lights over there. So,
But there's not.
and so they fly over it, you know, a couple of miles and drop the bombs off the desert. But, you know, yeah.
Wow, guys. So proud of you. 2 bro.
2
Pen.
bromopentane.
You really want to yeah.
Let me just draw this out for, it's like this, and then there's like that, and then there's this, and then there's some squiggles, and some double bars. We should all watch this when we're all in like bio or fucking 3, 4, full motion.
Yeah, he's talking about what film is released.
But don't we have to put the number in the middle?
Got about a half hour or so. Is that right?
Alright, we got 4 minutes.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Well, I guess we know what we're doing on Friday. Then. If you pass those little packets forward.
What are we
We're
giving
doing
them?
this.
He's like, give them back.
Yeah, we'll end up doing it Friday.
Guys, we're real good.
No,
Okay, guys. Time to say goodbye. Let's say goodbye to the vlog. We've been doing thumbnails.
Yeah, bro.
Not that. Hey, guys.
Thank you guys so much for watching. How do I
Like and subscribe. Because have we looked in the mirror lately? Why am I so much more tan than the white person? Yes. Who said who?
Open your eyes. Like,
Like Caucasian.
No.
Yeah, right.
But that doesn't mean I'm not.
how did your dad
No,
get
like
to
your
achieve
face
that?
is like. My face is like yellow.
There's a lot of cool stuff about World War II. You know, this war goes on
Have
for
we seen that
6
consumer
years,
shade?
it covers the entire planet. There's a lot of stories that come out of it. There's also a meme. We didn't. What do we call them? Memes.
K-Squad. Oh, he's memeing?
The perfect time.
Wait, let's let him meme.
Oh, he's memeing. Hand drawn.
Thumbnail.
I wish like they. Oh wait, someone take a photo and pull it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this.
That's not how that's drawn.
It's not really known where this comes from. It's a bald guy with a big nose sticking his head over a wall. And the phrase that's attached to it is Kilroy was here. Now, there's a lot of different origin stories about where it may have come from. That supposedly some ship inspector was, he'd go along to show other ship inspectors that had been there. He started putting Kilroy was here. But for some reason, the Americans started painting this on basically everything. You go into a village in Europe and have the Americans been through it? Well, yeah, they'll be able to. Kilroy was here. It ended up like all over the world.
I think
it was kind of a viral meme, like decades.
I think he does his job.
So I mentioned this because.
Okay, I think we're gonna end the video there. We hit the 54-minute mark. Okay. Stay free, baddies.